Hello and welcome everybody to the second episode of the podcast. This is Overwashed. I am Artorigold and this is my good friend over here, Cladtu. How you doing today, dude?
Oh, I believe that's me. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Have a lot of energy for 9 o'clock at night.
Hey, that's great to hear. And I'm also really excited for today's episode. We are going to be talking specifically about Sombra and Bastion. Personally, I am really excited for these Bastion changes. It's one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most for many, many reasons, actually. Not just because I think he's going to be really fun to play, but also it really excites me that people aren't going to just be picking Bastion as like a throw pick because like I'm so tired of the way his kit works in Overwatch 1 and I'm so happy to see this change. I know you have a lot
hmm
of experience with Sombra, so I think you're going to be more excited to talk about that because you play her a lot
Oh
actually.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I'm very interested in the somber changes, but I'm also interested in how Bastion's going to play out in the meta because we don't like cheese around here.
yeah, cheese is one of those things in a lot of Overwatch 1 games that was just really unfun. Like, nobody ever
hmm
really enjoys playing against Bunker. Bunker was something that made me even quit the game because Paris and I believe Lunar and Paris, when they were in competitive back when I was really playing a lot, that was the meta. You would have to run Bunker on defense, and it was just so unfun to not only play against it because it was just cheese, but also
hmm
playing it was super boring because you didn't do anything. Unless you were the Bastion or unless you were like the Orisa, you weren't really doing anything. You were playing either Baptiste and your job was just press, your ult. You didn't even really heal because everybody died so quickly. And then you had Mercy who would just right click the whole time, which was also really not fun to do. And then you had like one other DPS that wasn't really doing much else, and the whole comp was just bad for the game, right? And the
It's
problem
a
was
very poorly designed
it
map
was
too.
the map. The map only made
There's
it
the reason why
worse.
the meta evolved into dodging that map, even in
Yeah,
competitive.
dodging the map was the meta. I ultimately I think the developers understood that most of the problem centered, of course, around Bastion, and I guess that's who we'll talk about first. Um, his Overwatch 1 kit was basically, I mean, even from the beginning, he had like a shield. They gave him, do you remember that? They gave him like a whole
I do
barrier for
remember that.
himself,
Yeah.
which was ridiculous to think about. Like, what made them think that he needed that? I don't know.
It was
Um,
pretty powerful too.
yeah, it was very strong. I think it was like 600 or something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but any amount of barrier is too much for that man. And also his head hitbox was like on his, I think it still is, but it was on his back. So it was like you had to try to flank it. But obviously, if you play around the Bastion well enough, that's never like even a weakness. You center yourself up in one place, you bunker up, and it's impossible to kill him. Until Sombra came out, Sombra technically was kind of the bunker buster, and that was the meta, right? You would go invisible around him and just charge that EMP, and then bam! Now all of a sudden, you don't have to worry about immortality field. Bastion isn't in his turret form anymore, and that was the only way to really bust through that bunker comp successfully. It is kind of interesting that those two characters have that kind of weird yin and yang to each other. Um,
Wouldn't say it's too heavily like only Sombra because spam and just like going like a Hanzo and like Farah and
Dragon
just like
Strike was pretty good.
spamming Dan straight into the shields is
Hmm.
pretty meta, but at the same time it's like it's not really like or Sombra's playstyle is more like I EMP'd, now it's time to fight. Spam's just let's just all sit here and wait. Oh, something happened. Something happened. All right, what do we do? All right, let's go in. Let's go. You know.
Yeah. I think it also is very different with Sombra, depending on what rank you're at too, right? Because if you're playing at a low rank, Sombra EMP probably won't even kill a bunker because people don't know really how to play around that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't actually understand playing around EMPs.
Hmm. Any ability canceling thing is actually extremely broken. But as we've noticed a
hmm
lot, as we've been playing a lot recently in just Masters games, even, people don't know how to take advantage of Sombra's kit. And that's something that we're seeing with Overwatch
Mm,
2, where they're trying to make her more damage based, more damage in general, rather than just canceling other people. Which does two things. One, it does make her better at lower ranks, while also making her probably more fun to play against, because it's not really fun on the receiving end of the hack either. So
yeah.
having less of that is healthier for the game, I think.
They're definitely going good direction with this because they're trying to go, okay, we need to establish a baseline of how our characters function. We don't need them to be playing solely off of abilities. We want DPS to all universally ultimately feel like DPS.
Hmm.
You don't want Sombra to just be hackbot. She's supposed to be a DPS, not like a I'm literally my whole purpose is to prevent you from playing the game. You know?
That is true. Well, before we get too much more into it, I guess let's go
Yeah,
ahead and watch the
yeah.
videos
The Bastion.
and
Oh,
we
you
can
want to
talk
stream
about
that?
them. Yep, we'll go ahead and get this on the screen here. Give me a second to get that all set up. And bam, 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 bam. I'm going to take away our little icons here. So the first one we have up here is Bastion. Let's go ahead and watch this.
I don't think you get the stream up right now.
Oh, you're right. Let me get the stream up for you. I had it up in OBS. There we go. Okay. Gonna go
Right.
ahead and start it, and we can pause it, but we'll just go full in here, just so we can talk about all the little changes.
Ganymede.
Bastion is getting a big rework for Overwatch 2, and the team is really excited about his
Looks
changes.
nice.
Look-wise, we updated and modernized his appearance.
I don't really
So
care
they
too
use a
much about
sleeker,
the
more
looks. He
modern
looks good.
materials. We also gave
That's
him
the
a
best
hat
part.
to help him
Is
stand
that the
out
best part?
and to add an
He
extra
has a
Yep.
hat now. Oh my god.
So going through Bastion's
I mean, is
appearance,
really anything else
you'll
changed
notice
about
he
his
no longer
appearance?
has his self-repair button at all. It's just gone.
So that's something that's new. Yeah, he doesn't really. So as he says right here, he no longer
Yeah,
has self-repair anymore. That's a very big change.
actually, yeah.
So having no self-repair, I mean, let, I kind of have my mind warped a little bit because I remember playing him on experimental and he was so crazy on that where you could repair all the
Hmm.
time and it was kind of fun. But what's self repair? Okay, first off, Bastion was always really hard to kill because he has a huge amount of damage reduction whenever he was in his turret form,
Yeah.
and being able to self repair also actually had a cool little tech with it you could do where when you use your ultimate every time in between your shots, you could get off a little bit of your self repair in between shots for free. And that was kind of a fun little skill tech that you could do, and that's no longer going to be in there, but for another reason too, because he does have a different ultimate. But do you think the self repair is necessary? I mean, I guess they're trying to make Bastion not feel tanky, and that's their goal,
Yeah,
right?
I think that is. I think if you're thinking about it under how he currently works,
Hmm.
no self repair is devastating because it's just entirely based around being able to sustain completely one spot when that's just not it's just not healthy for the game. Whereas
Hmm.
having him be able to move and use his abilities, like I said, is similar to the Sombra thing, is they're trying to line up this is how DPS should function, and we want it to kind of form in this lineup with some sort of deviation. And
I
I think that's probably the right play. Really got to see how it is, and I wonder if they tuned the passive damage reduction at all,
Well,
or
I
if that's
hope
just
they
completely
do,
gone altogether.
because I do notice. I don't know if you noticed just on this
Yeah, he
screen
still
alone,
has
he has
a decent bit
300
of armor.
and
Yeah.
armor. So that's a lot for a DPS hero. Like if you get angry about Cassidy having 225, you should be pissed that this guy has 300 plus all that armor. I don't know how much armor that is. I
I
imagine that's like
wonder if
50,
that
70,
is
50, right?
their solution to removing it,
I
or if
mean,
that's only
yeah,
their solution to removing self repair.
because I think it's pretty frustrating that Torb has his E because that makes him really
Oh
hard to
yeah.
kill as well. So I guess these defense-based heroes, because when Overwatch first came out, they had DPS heroes classified in their own category of offense and defense, and I think now they're realizing that that's not really healthy to have because the game isn't really about attacking and defending. It's kind of boring actually. Like 2 CP defense-based things is not very fun to play in this type of game, and having a defense based hero like Bastion, and hopefully they turn that away. Bastion is just he's able to do what he's able to do at any point in the game, right? And I think that's more healthy for the game and more fun because, like, having a hero with a lot of advantages with defending in one spot feels like people camping in a different shooting game, like Call of Duty camping or PUBG camping. That's not really fun, right? And I think that's something that they're realizing is that type of play style. Maybe it's fun for that one person to be that camp or camper type attitude. It's miserable for
Yeah,
everybody
but
else in the game.
everybody else is just not having fun, and
Exactly.
it's beyond just oh well, I want to play this character because I want to have fun. It's okay, but you're also ruining the game for
Hmm.
other people with
That's
having
Bastion.
this specific play style.
That's Bastion in a nutshell right there. He's having fun, everybody else is miserable. And I hope that these changes definitely make that different. So far, we're seeing he has a lot of health and armor still, so he is tanky just by default, right? Not having his self repair, if anything, thank God. That seems like he would never die,
Yeah,
right? That would be terrible. I mean, look at people who can self heal. You only have a soldier, I think, in the DPS category. That's the only one, right? Unless you count like lifesteal from
unless
Reaper, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna get
lifesteal
that deep into it.
Reaper.
I think
Unless you
Soldier E
count
really.
like Torb's E, but
Not really. Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Tracer Recall,
Yeah.
Sombra, Hack on Health
Like,
Packs.
there's
I
some
mean,
nitpickiness with
yeah,
there, but just
yeah. There's
direct
not like
self healing. I like that that's gone because I don't know. Me personally, I would like to see Bastion be even lower than 300. That seems like a lot to me still. 300 seems like a lot,
I
but
mean, you know what? Let's see how what they do with the passive, because if they just outright remove the passive and outright remove self heal, I might be fine with that. Because he does have to just go, okay, let me sit here. Because as a Hog player, as somebody who's played Hog like a very long time, I remember when his E made you completely still, and that sucks. That's such a downside, but I think that would be a balanced downside for the no heal, no damage reduction, but still have the HP that he has.
yeah.
But like I said, you still gotta actually play it and really see how it feels. But
I'm not
it
sure if
might
this
balance out.
I'm not
It
sure
might
if this
balance out.
video talks about the passives or not. I don't think it does. Let's continue
If
going
they
forward and
don't
find out.
mention it, that means it probably isn't changed.
Yeah, you're probably right. Let's go ahead and see what else they got here.
At all. It's just gone. Instead, he now has a brand new ability that's bound to
His
all
new
control.
right click.
This ability fires a projectile
This
that
looks
can
so
bounce off
fun
the
to
walls
me.
and
Mhm.
stick to players, and it does a ton of damage, has a really big radius.
I
and
love
super fun to
this.
fire. His recon form weapon.
I
I'm not
love
a
that.
fan of displacement, but
How
it's a
much
cool looking
displace?
ability.
There is a little bit of
That's a
displacement,
big
a little bit,
range.
but it looks really fun the way that it sticks to people. It reminds me of Echo a little bit, but this one it looks like there's actually like some aim involved into it, you know? Like it's like how Junkrat kind of just spams no brain, no aim,
It just
doesn't
bounces.
matter. He's a
I
Junkrat main,
wonder how many
but
times this will actually bounce, because they're not showing it bounce more than once.
I think it only bounces once.
Damage, has a really big radius. It's super fun to fire.
Let's watch that
It
again.
didn't even bounce there.
This ability fires a projectile that
Bounces
can bounce off
there.
the walls and stick to players.
Bounces
It doesn't
once
show the
there.
cooldown either.
And it does a ton of damage. Has a
Does
really
it?
big radius that's bound to all
Doesn't
control.
bounce at all there.
This ability fires a
Yeah,
projectile
bounce
that can
once
bounce off
there.
the walls and stick to
Only bounces
players.
once there.
It does a ton of damage.
Yeah, I think it just bounces once. We don't see the
And then
cooldown
it
of it.
doesn't bounce on the third one.
Damage, has a really big radius. It's super fun to fire. His recon form weapon has changed significantly.
I really like this right click
I
though.
wonder if he controls it.
It
when
only
it
bounces.
explodes.
It only bounces. I really like this ability, and I think that it could be really healthy to his kit, depending on how many other changes are also there. Let's go ahead and continue playing here.
His recon form weapon has changed significantly as well. It now has no spread at all, but has reduced fire rate to compensate. This lets him poke at much longer ranges and play a little more like a pseudo sniper.
I think we kind of felt how this would play out in the
For his ultimate,
experimental.
Yeah, his left click, it has 20 in the chamber here, and it looks more like, well, in experimental, his left click was powerful, but it was also
Mhm.
like I think you had 100. You had something crazy, like 100 in the clip or 150 in the clip. So you could literally just nonstop hold down left click. And while it was extremely fun to play, this is 20 bullets. It looks like it's more like a weird soldier, long range soldier with less ammo in the clip. Um, I could see the left click. I could see Soldier doing way more damage per second with his left click. Bastion does a little bit more higher accurate and longer range shots, but his big thing looks like it's his right click is actually much stronger than Soldier's right click, right? I could see Soldier maybe even getting a change in Overwatch 2 because those abilities, while they're kind of similar, I would like to see maybe more discrepancy between them because I want Soldier and Bastion to feel a bit more different. Obviously, Bastion has more in his kit that definitely does feel different, but his left click, it doesn't feel, it feels a little bland to me, but I could see its
Yeah,
effectiveness.
it doesn't seem very unique. It seems kind of like a
Hmm.
little mix mash between Ash and Soldier.
Yeah, it's just like a little bit in between, a little bit less in the clip, a little bit longer range, but like less DPS probably overall. I do think that the right click is very healthy though. I think that might add Bastion to that seems where all the fun is. Like the left click of Bastion doesn't seem very fun. Removing his heal, not very fun. That right click that allows you to sticky bomb people, that seems satisfying and fun. Like at the moment in my head, if I wanted to play Bastion, I would want to play it for that ability. Like that's what I would try to do. Some crazy sticky bomb shots. Who knows what kind of stuff you can do with it. Like I don't know, maybe there's tons of different combos in the future with it, but it just seems like it's a really fun ability to try to land a sticky bomb on an enemy DPS hero. And then when they take that big chunk of damage, you just kind of finish them off with your left click, right? Like that's the play style at the moment. Um, but yeah, let's continue playing it for a little bit.
A pseudo sniper.
Talk
That was
about
the
his
recon form
ultimate, I
that the game
believe.
was always kind of meant to be. For his ultimate, we completely changed it up.
This
He
looks
no longer
cool.
has this tank mode. He instead goes into
Yeah,
a
like,
more
like some
artillery
Predator
mode.
missile kind of
Yeah, it looks
setup
really
going
cool.
on.
You then get to choose 3 points to call down an artillery strike anywhere on the map within
It
the
has quite a
abilities.
I
delay to
like
it.
it because he's at a disadvantage right there. Because, like while he's setting it up, like those characters, they're going to be sitting there shooting at him.
Oh yeah,
Which
yeah.
also begs the question of what happens if he dies? Is he still like? I would assume it cancels his ult. Like he doesn't get to keep
Yeah, he
shooting.
probably just gets canceled. I would imagine
I wonder if the
also
shots are already out would still come down though.
I do
Probably,
I do have a
right?
lot of thoughts like how far these shots go. Can they be map wide? Is there a limit to the
It
range?
looks
Stuff like
like
that.
it could go pretty far.
It does look like he could go.
Anywhere on the map within.
I mean, he says
Anywhere on the
anywhere on
map.
the map within the ability's time limit. So that's kind of crazy. The question then I have
Did
is
it
like, do you
did it
have to
actually
be?
say the time limit?
Oh yeah, it does.
Choose 3.
8 seconds. 8
8 seconds.
8 or 9 maybe.
And
About
it looked
eight
like it
seconds.
moved pretty fast.
Yeah, I think it starts at 8.
Points to call down an
Yeah, look how
artillery
fast that
strike
moves. In 8 seconds, you could do that from spawn,
I am curious. Oh, this
depending on
is
the
this
map.
is actually a really cool ult, but I am curious like because if what would happen if you weren't out in the open air? Like what if you
Oh,
were in like
you
a
like got
tiny.
a roof above
Yeah,
you?
what if you have a roof
Yeah,
above you, does that affect it or are they ignoring that?
probably.
Because
Probably.
that would suck. Imagine if you're on a map like and it just gets. I mean,
Oh,
obviously this is an
good.
open
Good.
map,
That
but
makes sense.
it does make sense. I'm wondering if it's gonna follow those rules of logic or not. Because to me, it looks like it's just a Doomfist ult kind of repurposed.
Like little mini Doomfist ults.
Like coding wise, they probably just took the Doomfist ult and they probably just repurposed it, right? And if that's
Mm-hmm.
the case, then roofs probably don't affect it whatsoever. And you could do it from spawn, and it can like imagine you're on the last point of King's Row and they're about to get the payload to the point, and you just use it from that spawn instead of going through the 2 doorways, and you just like boom, 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 all on the
Okay.
payload. Like is that possible? That's my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about.
Because that could be great maybe for an overtime situation. I wonder how much AoE damage and stuff this all does because you could just pop 3 of them on
You
a
know
payload
what?
and just.
Anywhere on the map within.
Because I think we're both pretty much on the same wavelength when it comes to Bastion for stall. Like he's actually
Oh, he's
pretty
good.
strong for that. Just hopping out
He's
and then
very
just
good at it.
shredding down any shields, shredding down any tanks, squishies. Very good. this change, if that happens, like that restricts his ultimate and stuff like that,
Hmm.
that probably nerfs him pretty hard when it comes to stalling.
Yeah, I mean, already his turret form was the reason why I think also he was so good at stalling because he
Hmm.
did so much damage. And if you just ignored him or you had to get off the point, which is what he kind of also wants you to do in that situation too, right? So like that's not there anymore. His right click is pretty powerful, but and he is a little bit tanky, so maybe there's a little bit of stalling there, but you don't have your self repair anymore. I don't know if
Hmm.
he's exactly the good stall pick, and apparently Doomfist isn't the stall pick either. I think Tracer and May are probably going to be the best ones. Is what I'm thinking.
Well, Doomfist is a tank now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can't really pick him. Ball
Yeah,
is
but
still going to be the
Doomfist.
stall.
Oh, you mean as a tank? He's
Yeah.
no longer an option.
Yeah, he's no longer
Yeah,
because a lot of
yeah.
DPS players would go Doom to stall. You
Oh,
can't do
that's
that.
interesting. So now, for if you're both DPS are trying to get back fast, and
Mm-hmm.
let's be real, a lot of DPS players aren't going to go things like Symmetra or May for stall because they just don't like those kits.
Mm.
Understandable. I will, like, those characters are good, but at the same time, if you really need to get back fast, like, oh, we are stressing to touch point and time it right,
Mm-hmm.
then you do want to go something like Tracer. I
Tracer
wonder
for
what
sure.
the other choice is going to be. I guess it's gonna be Sombra.
It could be Sombra. She has the most movement and
Yeah,
less.
she's got move speed on her stealth. She's got the translocator. She's already like considered really good in a meta pick. I guess it's gonna be a lot of cases of, well, we already have a Sombra. The other DPS needs to go Tracer
The
if they're
other
not already.
one maybe could be like
Echo,
Soldier Sprint.
Soldier, yeah,
But he's
Soldier would
not
be another
good
one.
for actually stalling, just getting there.
Reaper has some ability
He could
to get back to
teleport,
point fast, but yeah, you
potentially.
really just use your TP to get back
Yeah.
because you don't really want to use your Wraith for the move speed because
Yeah,
then that's your ability to
you want to use it on
stall
the
and
point.
yeah,
Same kind of goes for Torbjorn with his E, because you also want to
yeah,
use that to
because you don't
stall.
want to use it to get back to point.
Tracer by far is going to be the best pick. After
It
that, it all
probably
kind of
followed by
sucks.
Soldier, maybe.
And maybe Sojourn. Sojourn has a movement
That's
ability.
interesting. Yeah,
I don't know if she'll be able to stall very well, but I know she has her little, kind of like Cassidy, where it's like a roll move. It's a movement ability. It's like a dash, right? She has like a dash kind of thing. I don't know if it's going to be that good. I would say Reaper's probably the next best because he's
maybe
got a little
Sim.
extra.
Maybe Sim's gonna be picked a lot more because of TP.
Maybe, depending if she's not a healer. I would love to see Sim as a healer personally.
Yeah,
I liked her
actually.
kit a lot. Well, let's go ahead and watch the rest of this. I
Yeah.
think there's one other ability to cover.
Now, finally, something we think you'll all be excited about. While in Sentry form, Bastion can now move.
This, of course, is
But
the
we've
most
added another
exciting
feature to
change.
it. We've also changed the ability to have a cooldown now. This lets us keep it super strong since you can't use it all the time.
So
That was
that's
definitely a good
that's the
choice.
best. So like, this is gonna be the kit now from Bastion. Hide and wait for this cooldown probably. Like, you
Yeah,
probably just are based around this cooldown. I
but
don't know how long the cooldown is. I don't think it says even.
I think this is good because this dissuades Bunker Bastion and encourages more which is we were talking about this before about how I think the game is going to be a lot more faster pace, and that's why they're like Orisa just planting her shield in this one spot is just functionally not working with the flow of the game.
Yeah, and this is gonna be more fun because you're not gonna be in one spot, and
Yeah,
I think the
you're
enemies can
involved in
kill
the
you too.
fight instead of let me just hold down left click and tell people to say cheese while I just look at them
And I do
and
think,
they just laser to death.
as you can see, they also have the head hitbox right here too. So like moving around actually makes you more vulnerable because
Oh, that's true.
you have an easier access to the crit point, which I like that. I like that. That's a nice little touch. I think this ability is
Hmm.
going to be much healthier for the game. I do think that the damage will probably have to be changed, probably to be a bit weaker. I don't know if you noticed, it says his damage or his, it says like infinite over here. Like he has infinite ammo.
Oh, he has infinite ammo
Yeah, I don't know how
for
like,
7 seconds
or I don't
with
know how long does
300
it last?
HP and armor. It says 8
8
seconds. 8
seconds.
seconds on the side there.
Yeah, 8 seconds, infinite just go to crazy town, just do as much damage. I mean, this ability is going to be insanely OP, and it reminds me of Baptiste Lamp, like a hero that's based kind of around that ability. Like it's such a big ability. It's like 30-second cooldown probably, right? It's probably going to be something like that, 25
Oh,
seconds.
that's true. That's true.
It's probably going to be a super long
Counter it that way.
cooldown.
Which I don't like that. I don't like that. I feel like that is not healthy to have abilities that are that powerful that you feel the need to go, we better put it on a 30-second cooldown. We better keep this person from using one of their abilities for that doesn't make sense. Why not just tweak the ability to not be so powerful then, you
I
know?
think that's classic Blizzard, where they like to have things feel very overpowered. They like having over the top, flashy, overpowered things, but then putting like a crazy like limit
You
on
know
them.
what? I wonder if if they see that and they go, this is a lot better for spectators because think about the average player and average viewer, they're not going to understand every single little thing that's happening every second because Overwatch is not a very very
You know, that
spectator
would be
friendly
an
sport.
amazing subject for
What if
another
that's what
like a
they are
whole
doing?
podcast we could talk about.
Lamp is
There's
out.
so much we could
It's
talk
a
about with that.
huge moment because it's only happens twice a minute.
But here's the thing: when Bastion goes into this form, I feel like you understand what's happening. This is a lot of damage. With something
Hmm.
like Baptiste Lamp, it's such a lame-looking ability almost. It's underwhelming.
Yeah.
If you were looking at that ability as an esports player, like, oh, that's cool. Like, it doesn't have the same impact as like, oh, this guy's fucking transforming into a moving tank thing. Like, that's actually pretty cool.
Hmm. Yeah, Lamp is very lazy.
I don't like that ability at all. I would like to see Baptiste's kit reworked, but that is definitely a time for some. That is, we'll talk
A
about that another
subject for
time.
another
But
video.
maybe that'll be our next episode of the podcast, talking about the esports scene, how things are gonna affect it, and what we can do about it, and that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and move on to the Sombra stuff, I suppose.
Sounds good to me. Overall, I think the Bastion changes are a lot more healthy and straightforward and not cheese. It definitely
Oh,
seems
absolutely.
powerful and needs tuning, but it's way better to not be cheese and just be
I.
like, okay, yeah, we can work with this and tune this rather than going, I
Mhm.
just hate this character. I'd rather just not look at it and just pretend like it doesn't exist.
I think ultimately that was something that maybe that's why this does seem broken and overpowered. But in my mind, it's like I'd rather have this than dealing with a bunker, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather him move at least around the map, because the other side of that argument is, of course, is while he was extremely good at one certain area in the game, which was bunker, he was terrible on any other aspect of the game. And how many games you would win with bunker meant nothing to how many games were thrown because of people forcing Bastion on maps where he didn't belong, and he never worked, and he always was. How many games have you? I know I've
Yeah.
lost so many games because there was some Bastion one trick player who would do nothing but sit around, try to flank, try to do something stupid and cheesy, and just get hooked, just get slept, just died and fed. And then, oh ho, silly me, he's not in voice chat, he's not swapping. What are you gonna do? You just GG go next, right? Like classic Overwatch, early Overwatch especially, when there was no role queues back when we played the game like obsessively, right? And there was
Mm-hmm.
always someone who would be like, "Oh, this is we're losing. So I'm gonna throw. What am I gonna do? Bastion. How do you know I'm throwing? Bastion. Like that's the classic. Oh, this is. Oh, you guys need another tank? Bastion. Like that's what he would do, right? That's the classic
Yeah,
move.
it's off the top of my head, I can't really think. I'd have to like go through each character and think about their play style, but really, there's not a single other character that requires as much team coordination and
True.
team picks to flex around pick more so than Bastion.
Yeah.
Because
And that
Bastion
was his
really just
problem.
requires your entire. You have to have a Mercy and
Yeah.
a BAP. You have to have double shield, so you gotta have an Orisa and a Sigma with you, you know? So you're already kind of forcing 4 of your team's picks to dedicate themselves to helping you.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, maybe Sim kind of requires certain picks, but Bastion's just like, if you don't flex around me, we basically just kind of lose.
And in that sense, he is probably one of the most selfish characters. Because you're basically saying either win by playing around me or lose by letting me feed.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like,
ultimately.
I don't care. I'm having fun either
Yeah.
way.
It reminds me of that meme with like the guy who has like he's just in tears, but he's wearing a mask of him smiling. I don't care. Play around me. That's him. He's pretending like he doesn't care, but in reality he's probably dying on the inside that he's losing again. Like I forget
Why
who,
is
but
everybody so toxic to me? I'm just a Bastion player.
yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3
Not because it's
Bastion one
Bastion,
trick.
homie.
There's like 3 Bastion one trick streamers, and I hate them all because they really do have that mindset. Same thing with like the Symmetra one trick streamers. They all have this terrible sense of entitlement that you have to play around them or else you lose. But it's ultimately that's what the core that's the fucking
Yeah,
philosophy
it's
behind the
like,
hero. That's that's their kit.
why do I need to flex around you? What if you can play a different character, better than I can?
Mhm. And that's
You know?
something also we could talk about another episode.
Yeah.
Because that is what I would guess I would call the one trick mentality, right? Because
True.
that's what these people are. They're one tricks, and they
Mhm.
think this is fucking League of Legends, and it's not. And but before we go, because I could go off the deep end
Yeah,
on these
that's a
people.
whole topic
That is
in
a whole
itself.
topic. We can talk about that. And but before we get into that, let's
Yeah,
go ahead and
let's do the
let's go
Sombra
into
stuff
Sombra
here.
because my god,
I
these sort of
saw a
changes
little
are
bit
going to be good.
about this, and I definitely, I think this is considered a hot take.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people will get mad, but I like the Sombra changes.
All right, well let's go ahead and check him out. I don't play Sombra nearly as much as you do. She looks
With
good.
Sombra's
She
rework, we
looks
have some
real
really
good.
important changes that can dramatically affect the way she's played.
She looks really good. I like the way she looks a lot.
Overall, we are
Very
reducing
good
her
style.
CC abilities in line with larger changes
I like
to
that.
Overwatch 2 and giving her more potential damage.
Let's start with changes to her hackability.
I do like that. Their core design philosophy,
Mhm.
less CC. I like that. That's something that Overwatch desperately needs. So that gives me a
That's
lot of
the
hope.
lining up the DPS with being
Mm.
DPS.
Yeah. Hopium. I'm gonna give that hopium. I'm excited for April 26th. I
Give
really
it the
am.
hopium stamp.
That is the official hopium stamp. So we're talking about her hack first.
Changes to her
Mhm.
hackability. First,
The biggest change?
significantly reduce the cooldown.
It's like what, 2, 3?
Secondly,
What is
It's
that?
4 seconds.
Reduce the
It's
cooldown.
4 seconds, and I
First,
want to note
significant-
that.
Was it 4?
Yeah, it is 4 seconds.
we
It says
significantly
3
reduce the cooldown.
because it's
I mean, this is all subject to change anyways, I guess.
3.99, ticking down. It's not going to say 4 immediately.
You know what's kind
But
of
it is 4
weird
seconds.
that I'm seeing right here? Why does it say 60? You notice that? It says 40 out of 60.
Huh.
What does the 60 stand for? She doesn't have 60 bullets in her gun. It's always 40, right?
Yeah.
What the hell is the
Maybe.
60 for?
I don't remember.
First,
No, she has.
significantly reduce the cooldown.
She has 60.
She does have 60?
Yeah, I just
Oh.
don't know why it's on 40 right now.
Am I looking
But
too much into
I
this?
do want to say maybe. I
Yeah.
do want to say that her hack on health packs
Mhm.
is already 4 seconds. So this
Oh,
clip
okay.
really doesn't show anything.
Yeah, so that's
but
not really
it
a
does
big deal.
hack enemy, or the cooldown on enemies is 4 seconds from the
Okay.
8 seconds.
Secondly, her hack now lasts 8 seconds, but now has 2 components to it. The first component of the ability works exactly like it does in Overwatch 1, disabling abilities. However,
Okay, yeah, so I was looking too much into that. She has 60 out of 60 bullets.
Yeah,
that now has
okay,
been reduced to
yeah.
1 second.
They just shot it some bullets for that shot or whatever.
It
So
just happened to land on an even number
Yeah.
and made it look weird.
The second component of
So
the hack is
her
delaying
hack was 5 seconds, but now it's up to 8 seconds.
However, that effect now has been reduced to 1 second.
she only hacks people for 1 second now, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
it only removes abilities for 1 second.
The second component of hack
And cancels things. This ultimately is also really strong against Bastion because you could hack him during his cooldown for his turret.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Get him out of it.
component of hack is
True.
a brand new effect that reveals hacked targets to Sombra. and
This
her
is
team
something
through
that she
and
kind of
lasts the
had
entire
before.
duration of the hack.
I'm gonna guess that they're gonna get rid of the low health thing then. Because she
It
had
doesn't
the...
seem like it.
I guess we can keep going, but if you hack someone, you get to see them.
Mm-hmm.
So does that actually make Sombra a really good pick against, like, Sombra? Because then you could reveal her when she's invisible on the enemy
True.
team.
I think that alone is the reason why Sombra is probably picked so much more.
That's hilarious. I do like that change. Her hack lasts for less, which is something that I think is healthier for
Mhm.
the game, because getting hacked feels really bad. So
Being
this is going to be
hacked
good.
for 1 second down from 5 seconds,
Mm.
mind you. That is huge.
That is literally like...
Hack is now only 20%
Yeah.
of
I
the
like that.
duration
I
as
don't
it
know.
was before
I don't know if it's
for
too short, but I do think it'll feel way better on the
I think it's
receiving
good.
end.
It's an interrupt, and it
Mhm.
doesn't prevent people from really playing the game
Yeah,
beyond just being an interrupt,
I
which
think
is
that's
I
good.
think is good.
I think thinking of it as an interrupt is probably the best way to put it, right? Because Sombra was a disabler. Now we can look at her more as
Mhm.
an interrupter, which I think is
Yeah,
better.
she's a DPS that has an interrupt. She's
Mhm.
that's that's what I was saying before. They're trying to line up the DPS to be like DPS. She's now a DPS with an interrupt, as opposed to she's just a hack bot. I'm just going to prevent the enemy team from playing the game. Ha ha he he.
And I think
You know.
that's a big deal because I think a lot of people are going an interrupt, but isn't that just a stun with extra steps?
And if
No,
you
interrupt
really
is
think
better
about
than
it,
a stun because you don't get
yeah,
killed from an interrupt. Stun, you die, right? If you get hit, McCree flashbang, left click headshot, right
yeah,
click,
it's
dead.
like flashbang, except you
Except you
can
don't die.
still left click.
Yeah, it's like flashbang. It's like if you were stunned, but you're actually able to play. Like stunning stops you from everything and then you die. Getting hacked was you're dead because it's 5 seconds of just not being able to do anything. But this is just a 1 second, like, oh fuck, I got my
But
momentum stopped, but
now
I'm still able to live.
I will say they are about to mention something that hack does additional, because you were talking about, oh well, you're not going to just die because of
Mm.
it.
I don't
Uh,
think so. Not necessarily the same
yeah,
way as five
it's not
second
the
hack
same
would do.
way as, oh okay, yeah, you're just
Which
you can't do anything, can't play the game at all.
Which
But
is why I think that they added this reveal effect too, because I think it's something that that maybe also I'm thinking this might also combo really nicely if you have a Widowmaker on your team. You could have a Sombra just go around reveal people, and it's like you can just get free headshots. Like it'll actually be kind of crazy to see combos like that. Just as something off the top of my head. I think that
mhm.
would be a good combo. Sombra plus Widowmaker on a map, you can get some insane headshot coverage depending on how much you're hacking with Sombra. But let's continue to hit play here.
And it lasts the entire duration of the hack. In addition to that, her passive has gained the ability to do 50% more damage to hack.
This right here.
Oh, man.
Yep.
For her ultimate
50% more damage to hacked targets.
Look at
Woo!
that. That's in the shoulder. Those aren't headshots either.
Yeah, that's true. That is an insane change. I
Wait a
like
minute,
that
does she
though.
kill the monkey?
I think she does.
For her ultimate
No headshots, full clip into a hacked monkey kills him.
Yeah. Sombra is
Oh,
extremely
you know
powerful.
what? This is also tweaked tank HP as well.
I don't think they're going to leave it at 50. I think they're going to change that in the beta.
Yeah,
That's not gonna stay.
needs to be reduced.
There's
Because
no way. Imagine Zenyatta Discord orb on a
EMP
there's no way. Yeah.
with 50% ink. Wait. Did they say it was just for Sombra?
It has to be only for Sombra. Yeah, it's her passive has gained the ability.
50% more
It's her passive, so it has to be only
Okay,
her.
okay.
Yeah. But just imagine you put a Discord and a hack on a tank, they're fucking dead, dude.
I
There's no
mean,
coming back
yeah,
from that.
I mean,
And those are
on
just
top of
basic
that, like
abilities.
getting
Those aren't ults.
EMP'd with like the change that they did to that,
Mhm.
and then you also have increased damage, like you're just going to shred.
Yeah, we can keep going,
Yeah.
but I think there's no way they're keeping it at 50% through the beta.
Yeah, no,
There's
she
no way.
definitely needs
Way too
tuning.
strong.
Like I think it's the same thing with Bastion. I think it's a
Unless-
lot better, healthier direction, but they're both still powerful and need tuning.
Yeah, way too powerful. But you know, we'll see the changes that they do in the beta too. I think all these things are
Yeah,
to hype you up, right?
Yeah,
This is
they
hype.
might have tweaked it a little bit, and it might be a lot better in the beta for sure.
They're definitely gonna go through a lot of changes,
Especially since they
on balancing.
mentioned like that they're trying to work with pros too a bit.
Yeah, hopefully they can work on the balancing. So I mean, we'll find out. Well, some of these pros know their stuff, but other ones, I don't trust so much, to be honest. I'm not gonna drop names, but
Ultimate ability, we tweaked it so it no longer removes all shields, but instead, it now just deals damage to enemies equal to 40% of their current health.
Well, now hold up.
it does
You
remove
sure?
the
'Cause
bubble.
it looked like it removed the bubble. Or is that because it's an ability?
instead,
Like it doesn't
it now
remove
just deals
shield
damage to-
HP?
I think they're talking about shield HP.
Because that
So-
definitely cleared the bubble.
I think it's still. I think because shields and barriers are two different things, right?
That's probably what they mean by that then.
Barriers go away with EMP still. It's the shields on Zarya and like Zenyatta. Those are the fucking shields they're talking about. So I don't think EMP, but of course this is just an educated assumption. I assume that Zarya and Zenyatta shields are the ones that stay, but you do take damage.
It's
But barriers all still go away, which I actually really like because my god,
Yes,
I hope the
yeah.
god Symmetra Wall isn't in the game anymore. I hate that ability so
yeah,
much.
that was cringe.
I think Sombra EMP getting rid of it is one of the most
But now
satisfying
she
things.
has 50% damage increase on all 3 of those targets.
Yeah, she does.
40% of their current health.
And they're already
That
missing
Pharah is
40%.
dead. That Torb
Combined
is
with her new
dead.
passive effect,
Monkey
this gives her even
probably
more
dead. Yeah, look at that.
potential.
Yep.
Sheesh.
Lastly,
Look how quickly she melts.
Combined with
The
her new
Torb.
passive effect, this gives her
Dead.
Not
Just-
even a full second.
Just
That was like 0.8 seconds, bro.
I don't even think that was headshots.
even more.
Definitely was not.
Also, I'm noticing
she
Pharah looks
hitting in the
quite
body?
different here.
lastly, an
Yeah, the
update that
armor
really
had like
leans
white
into her character
to it. It was
is
like
that
blue
you
and
can
white.
now hack while
This is
being
also
in stealth
crazy.
mode. You are briefly revealed when hacking, but it no longer removes stealth. Now hack
How does
while
that?
being
I
in
want to see
stealth
what that
mode.
looked like when she
You
was.
are briefly revealed.
Oh, okay. So you look kind of ghost.
Yeah, you're translucent, but
That's easy
you
to
can definitely
interrupt.
still be seen.
I think that's easy to interrupt, honestly, if you're looking for it. I think you can get. I mean, it depends. It depends, but I think that if you're
I
playing a
don't
hit
think
scan,
that's what the issue is with these changes here. I think the biggest issue
Mhm.
is the 50% increased damage to hack targets.
yeah, there's no way that number stays
That's
true.
too much.
when
Like
hacking.
There's no
you
way.
No
should
longer removes
Oof.
stealth completely.
like just with the change that they've already done with hack and stuff like that. There's and also EMP. There's no need to have 50% increased damage to hack targets.
Yeah, there's
But
absolutely
I'm
no way
sure
they keep
they'll
that.
tune that.
They have to. 50% is way too much. With these two things combined with the knowledge we have with Orisa and Doomfist, I think that Sombra would be very hard for Doomfist to deal with. I think for tanks in general, it's really difficult because if you're able to hack a tank while invisible, and there's only one tank now, I do think that the tanks are the ones who are going to be absolutely the most susceptible to this. Sombra is going to annihilate them. I think Sombra is going to be extremely good if these are going to all stay. I don't think they will. I think things are going to get mixed around a lot,
I
balance-wise.
think that Sombra is, from what we've seen, she's meta, but from all the changes we've seen, Sombra, Bastion, Doom, Orisa, I think she's meta to a similar degree that Tracer and Echo are meta, more so than the ways that Orisa and Sigma Double Barrier was meta.
More
She doesn't
independence.
she doesn't seem very cheese as much as it's just a really good character with a really good kit.
Yeah, I agree with that. She's definitely less cheese because being able to just like hack everybody and the enemy team just being like shooting fish in a barrel is very different to this, where she's actually the one
Mhm.
who still needs to aim and get the shots and the damage in. and they're able to fight back. Yeah, you're gonna have that second of an opening, but they're still able to shoot you, unlike a stun, right? So like if you're still trying to, because there's always that big meme is like, oh no, what are you gonna do? You hacked me, and it's like Soldier 76 getting hacked, and you just shoot Sombra in the face or whatever. Because
Yeah.
like that's kind of what's gonna still happen if she goes for those targets, right? It depends who she's fighting. She needs to pick her battles.
Hmm.
But if she's fighting and trying to hack like DPS players, she can still die, right? You can go up and try to hack like a McCree or Cassidy, and he can still headshot you and kill you. He doesn't need the
Yeah.
flashbang to do
Let's
it.
be real. That ulting Farah would
Hmm.
have noticed if she was good enough,
Probably.
turned, and maybe have gotten hacked, but a few of those rockets are hitting that Sombra. She's caught out of stealth,
Oh,
and now
absolutely.
you're having to fight a Farah that close.
Absolutely. I do think the hack is definitely gonna just be a tank tool primarily. Obviously it's gonna be really good against like
And
supports,
support. Yeah.
but I think for the most part, DPS don't have to worry about it at all. And I mean, I don't know. That kind of is a big change because in Overwatch, when we play Sombra, you have a lot of targets you can hack, and it makes them very useless for 5 seconds. Like Doomfist, for example. If you hack a Doomfist or if you hack a Tracer, they're just dead, right? But
Hmm.
I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. So she's going
Yeah.
to be very
I think it's
anti-tank,
huge with the
anti-support.
reduction of how long you're actually hacked for.
Hmm. I think she's going to be very exciting to play. I do think, however, she's going to need drastic balance changes. I do think her kit is overloaded, if only on the numbers side of things.
I, I've honestly have changed my tune with characters like Echo and stuff.
Hmm.
And now with these new changes as well, like, screw it. Like, give all these characters, like, all these characters are beyond just having a shift and an E and then their ultimate, they're starting to get additional abilities. And screw it. Let's make every character be able to do a whole lot, like why not? Like
That
update all the
yeah,
older characters to be up to date with this new flow of the game because it is way more exciting for all these characters to be good rather than just no, these are the characters that are good, these characters are shit, but the game is fun when you play the good characters. Just people
that
are still
is
going
the
to play the
pro.
trash characters because
That
they enjoy
is
those play styles and things like that.
that is something I really do hope to, right? Because as someone that mains Zenyatta a lot, like what the fuck are they gonna do to Zenyatta to make him
Hmm.
feel different? Because right now I can't imagine him having a new kit. I can't imagine Zenyatta getting any changes, right? That's hard for me to imagine. But yet also, if this really is a sequel and not just Overwatch 1 delayed expansion big patch,
Yeah.
because that is a lot of the worries a lot of people have right now. Is Overwatch really a sequel, or is this just a really big patch update? And a lot of that I'm going to feel with the old characters being changed heavily. They
Yeah.
can't just have a couple of hero reworks. They need to have like everybody coming out of the door with something
Hmm.
new. Like Zenyatta is gonna feel pretty lame if he comes out and he's just the same, right? It's gonna be like, oh, okay, I use Discord and Harmony and I shoot orbs.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, okay, everybody else gets cool changes, but this guy's left in the dust. Well, why should I play him then? What's the point? I might as well only play, these other heroes. So that is something that I am worried about. I am worried about Overwatch 2 not having updates for all the heroes. Some
Hmm.
heroes are going to get left in the dust. I'm expecting it, right? And unfortunately, I think heroes like Zenyatta are going to be some of them.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time and those characters catch up and they get updated and
Because,
they
like, these
start
changes are
feeling
great.
good pretty fast.
I think we can
Yeah.
both agree that Bastion and Sombra changes give you a lot of hope for what's to come in Overwatch 2. But is it going to be like that for every hero? Probably not. So I'm probably going to be a main of whatever the new supports or, whatever the new heroes are. I'll probably just
Hmm.
main them because those are going to be the ones that feel the most different and new.
Yeah. I'll
And
probably just keep playing Echo and Sombra.
yeah, maybe a little bit of Bastion. Maybe. Depending on the
Maybe.
numbers. I'm really curious about his numbers on the cooldown, specifically on his Sentry form. That's going to be very
Hmm.
important for that
Also
character.
interested if he has any damage reduction because they didn't
They
specify
did not.
whether or not he no longer has that.
Maybe he still does. I mean, I could see it. Maybe he still has his damage reduction whenever he uses that, but
Hmm.
that just makes that cooldown even more important to know. Because he could just be
Hmm.
very cooldown based, because otherwise you're just going to go around trying to get some cool sticky bomb
I
plays.
wonder if it also gets canceled if he gets hacked.
It has
'Cause,
to. It has to, right?
Soldier Visor, that doesn't
Oh,
cancel, I don't
that is
believe,
a good point. That is a good
after it
point.
gets popped.
I imagine in my head, I imagine it stops completely. But the point that you just brought up with Soldier Visor makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense actually. But I feel like it's gonna work just how it does in Overwatch 1, where he just gets transformed back to normal self. It makes sense that way. All right.
We'll
Well, any
see.
final thoughts on these two
I think
heroes?
it's pretty well, I'll speak on behalf of, like, all 4 of the characters.
Sure.
Just I think we are really starting to get an idea now with the direction that they want with the whole game. They were talking about it at the beginning of this is like we hope you guys can see, some insight into where we want to go with the bigger picture, and I think we're starting to see it with these changes and the additional 2 changes,
Oh yeah.
Doom and Rissa. Um Still got to see beta. We're less than
Yeah.
a month away. That
Yeah.
will be the true tale of
This
what's
is
what's
really
to come.
exciting. I will say that all these changes, the direction you like you said, you can see where they're looking, what they're
Mhm.
focusing on. My only concern, of course, is that they're only going to do it to a handful of heroes, right? I want to see it
Mhm.
for more than that because I do want the game to be good. I want to play Overwatch 2 as much as I played Overwatch 1 back in the day before Roll Queue came out, right? Because that's when we just played the most. I want to play Overwatch again, just like the good old days, and that's what we're looking for.
Mhm.
So I'm really hoping Overwatch 2 is a huge success. I'm sure, of course, it will be. But I'm hoping that I'll just grind the fuck out of it like we used to back in the old days, dude. Because
Yeah,
these
maybe we'll
changes
start
get me
another
excited.
team.
Yeah, I mean that was a lot of fun. Those are definitely way more fun than playing fucking ranked. That's for
Oh yeah,
sure.
scrims.
Yeah, scrimming is way. If anybody hasn't
Playing the
done that,
game the way it's intended.
yeah, 6 people, well, 5 people all trying
All
their hardest,
coordinating
coordinating.
and
Yeah,
calming.
it's so much better, and also no 2 CP. Still, by far, my favorite change is that they're deleting 2 CP from ranked. That alone is
That
still the
is
best
very
change.
nice.
That's the best change in Overwatch 2. It's not any of the other stuff they mentioned.
Should have
That's
happened
the best change.
already years ago.
Agreed. 2 CP does not belong in the game. Say it with me. 2 CP
2CP does
does
not
not
belong
belong
in
in
the
the
game.
game. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That'll be it for Overwashed episode 2, and we'll see you next time.
GG's.
GG's.